clearly we can see this up thrust, and then we have this little trading range. We kind of have a fake break, but again we just slam straight down. This would be the Fed day, and to be honest, there's not a great deal of insight that we can kind of gain from the 60-minute time frame. It just looks a bit weak, you know. There are levels around, which you have kindly drawn here. This is a demand zone. Great. This is the area where we would expect to see some buying. I don't think, is it possible we could get there today? Possible. Probably not the lower boundaries, but we may be able to test here. And this is an important level for us to look on the 60-minute time frame, because if price manages to get down to the upper boundary of this demand zone, you know, we could easily get a 10, 15, 20 point bounce on a 3-minute time frame. That's an 80 tick move. That is significant for the environment. But what are your thoughts here, just from the price action from this kind of wacky volatile behavior from CPI and Fed? It's not particularly clean. We were making lower highs and lower lows, the basics, but nothing.
Yeah, well, I definitely don't like a couple of things here just lately, right? So, I mean, when we're coming into the structure, the change of behavior is pretty well defined. It's not that threatening. We're going into the area of the demand, higher level of that. So that's kind of like still bullish. We're starting to go up. Demand is starting to diminish going into this high. And then the reaction to that is also somewhat weaker, and we don't see any type of volume signature here. And that's all in the expectation for the catalyst that came in the last 2 days. I like this move, of course, but I mean, like, we are not holding up here enough. And then definitely this sign of weakness is suggesting that we might have some kind of downside. Now, what is interesting here to me, William, is that we have these 2 levels of support. So we're seeing 3 touches of the upper support line, and then 2 touches of the lower support. And then look at how, with the analog here, even though the weakness that comes is not as much as here, we're still touching this low. So I wonder if the upper or the lower support is going to work out, let's say in today's session. And I think you're right in terms of where the price might be kind of like heading. First, at least initially, you know, it needs to go to a logical, meaningful support level, and on the intraday 60 minutes, it's around this area right here. So I would say, I mean, tactics are what? Waiting for this to go to this area right here and see if there is some kind of reversal, which is being followed by the change of behavior, and that is followed by the testing, and hopefully by the confirmation to the upside. And if we have this type of sequence, then we have some kind of points of entry.
Yeah, and also, if near the open, if we can disconfirm demand and see any overt supply signals around here, around this vicinity, there's still a 25-point drop to the upper boundary. That would be worth taking advantage of. So I will be looking around, you know, trying to snipe something from around the open. As you know, I don't really trade the open, but, you know, for today, we'll try and see if the market offers something significant after the first 20, 30 minutes or so.
I just want to also say this, and Bruce mentioned this, but the way how we're gonna present this material, obviously we want to bring the practicality of the Wyckoff methodology. Here we are doing the chart reading, which we've been doing, you know, for years and years, and lately together with William on Mondays, and together with Bruce on Wednesdays. We look at the markets, and the way how this session is going to go is that we're going to stop at the open at 6:30. Give it back to Bruce. He's going to announce the next speaker. We're going to have another presentation, and then we'll come back. We'll come back for 5 minutes, and we'll tell you guys if something has happened, if we've seen something, and we'll tell you our interpretation. And that's going to be the way how we're going to conduct this session.
Okay. If we would like to go down, break it down to the 3-minute time frame. Now, this is interesting. I was looking at this pre-market. If you could condense a little, compress the data, if you a little more, because yesterday's action was confined to an apex, and the equilibrium point is the middle of the apex. Beautiful. During the Asian, look at this. We find tight trading range. Look at this buying to this buying. I know it's very small here, but the buying is poorer on the second attempt here. Then we break down, and then look what happens. As we break down, the equilibrium line acts as resistance, and then we're breaking on down, eventually breaking the lows, and we do so with good volume. So there's weakness I'm reading here coming in on the 3-minute time frame. I think it's a bit more apparent here on the 3-minute time frame than the 60-minute time frame. And if you can just zoom in a little here, please, Roman, on the last part of the price action over here, because there was, if we can just draw this across here, we see some buying emerging here. We see some buying here. There's a lovely, it's not a textbook 2-bar bottom reversal, but it's a spring of sorts. And then that does produce, if you draw this across, that does produce a 10-point move up into resistance. And then look at this over here, this little up thrust, which is tested over here. Higher volume, can't break through, or sorry, lower volume, but still can't break. And then we come back down here. So this is, of course, a trading range. And then as Bruce was talking, I was like, oh, wow, we get like a little hidden spring here that takes us to the resistance now, which is, of course, rally to ice. Look at the spike in volume, supply, come back down. There is that would have been a trade. Beautiful, literally 12-point play, 50 ticks or so, right from this up thrust coming in just to the market. But nothing to do as yet because of the open. But that would have been a play I was keeping my eye on when Roman was when Bruce was speaking. But I can definitely see a little bit of weakness here, Roman. But what are your thoughts on this reaction? Just on to this reaction here.
Well, I mean, I still don't see a lot of strength here.
No.
I mean, everything is weak. The
Yes.
background is to the downside. We have the breakdown bar. We can't overcome this. We have the next break. We can't overcome this. We have the next break, considering, like 3 bars right here. It's not that great. So it's suggesting some shortening of the thrust. We're seeing this on this kind of like smaller time frame. So that is suggestive that at least an attempt to rally. Well, how does this rally unfold? I still don't see anything. We come to the resistance and we're being rejected right away.
Beautiful.
Supply is increasing.
Picture perfect.
So yeah, I'm not seeing any strength. I would be thinking, William, either continuation almost immediately to the downside at the open, or attempt to go up. You know how sometimes at the open you have this type of excitement bar to the upside, maybe even into the area of the higher up thrust right here, and then reversal again. I think for bullish conditions to be formed, we have to have a consistency of the price action to the upside for some time to establish them and then to test. Only then I would be looking for something more concrete to the upside.
Agreed.
And so far, I would say like weakness, still bearish. So all of my setups will be attuned to the downside.